Tonight, the shock escalation overseas as Israel launches airstrikes inside a country that is a key U.S. ally. Explosions ripping through the capital of Qatar, targeting Hamas officials. Israel says planning had been in the works for months, but the decision to attack came after Hamas claimed responsibility for the deadly terror attack in Jerusalem. But tonight, in a rare move, the White House criticizing Israel. Plus, we'll show you what else Congress found in Jeffrey Epstein's birthday book and why the president is calling it a dead issue when we asked about the letter and drawing inside, allegedly including his signature. The new federal charge in the gruesome stabbing of a woman on a North Carolina public transit train. The moment the U.S. attorney on the case got emotional discussing the horrific crime. The concerning new jobs report, nearly 1 million fewer jobs created than previously thought. What one of Wall Street's biggest leaders, Jamie Dimon, is warning about tonight. The shocking murder of a beloved Auburn professor killed in broad daylight at a popular dog park. How police tracked down the suspect. Protests exploding in Nepal, leaving at least 19 people dead. The reason? A nationwide ban on social media. It's being called the first political revolution powered by Gen Z. First look, Apple revealing its thinnest iPhone yet. Plus the new AirPods that can translate conversations in real time in your ear. But are they worth the new price tag? And imagine walking into your college classroom and having a 9-year-old sit down next to you. The boy genius with big dreams taking on college classes. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. A new set of intense strikes are seeming to diminish any chance for peace in the Middle East. Israel targeting Hamas leaders, blasting through a building in Doha, Qatar, where Hamas has an office. Streets in the Qatari capital, you see it here, descending into chaos as the strikes rain down. The moments of impact captured on security camera. The strikes stunned the region, happening on the soil of a U.S. ally where there's a major American military installation. And now the White House has issued a sharp message to another close ally, Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he gave the green light for the strikes after Hamas claimed responsibility for that brutal terror attack against Israelis at a bus stop in Jerusalem. It has all rocked an already volatile state of play in the region. And Richard Engel is there, leading us off tonight.
The Israeli airstrikes in Doha, Qatar were captured by security cameras. One explosion at the back of the targeted building, followed by another in the front. Cell phone video shows people running in the normally quiet and peaceful Qatari capital. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said the targets were Hamas leaders who have an office in Qatar.
At noon today, I convened the heads of Israel's security organizations and authorized a surgical precision strike on the terrorist chiefs of Hamas. These are the same terrorist chiefs who planned, launched, and celebrated the horrific massacres of October 7th.
He says he gave the green light for the strike after Hamas claimed responsibility for Monday's mass shooting, where gunmen opened fire on commuters at a Jerusalem bus stop, killing 6 Israelis. But the White House tonight had rare criticism of Israel and its decision to hit Hamas in Qatar, neutral ground where negotiations among enemies take place. The Hamas office was opened in Qatar over a decade ago in a deal with Washington's support to facilitate diplomacy.
Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal.
The White House saying the U.S. military, not Israel, notified it of Israel's operation as it was happening, and that the U.S. then told Qatar, whose government called it a cowardly Israeli attack and state terrorism. Tonight, President Trump speaking to Netanyahu and Qatar's top leaders.
He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
Richard joins us now live. Richard, what do we know about whether Israel hit those Hamas officials they were targeting?
Well, we don't exactly know, Tom. Israel says it is still assessing. Hamas says that several of its members were killed, but none of its top leaders. And Qatar says that a member of its security services was also among the dead. Tom?
Richard Engel leading us off tonight from Jerusalem. Richard, thank you. Now to the latest on the Epstein files. President Trump reacting today for the first time since that raunchy drawing allegedly with his signature ended up in a birthday book for Jeffrey Epstein. Here's Hallie Jackson.
President Trump, for the first time, now reacting to the release of that notorious Jeffrey Epstein birthday book, telling NBC's Garrett Haake in a phone call, it's a dead issue, not commenting further. That's after the House Oversight Committee released these images of a book compiled by Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell for Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003. It includes this drawing, allegedly from the president, of a naked woman's outline, a signature near the thighs. The message, in part, enigmas never age.
The president did not write that letter. He did not sign those documents.
The White House signaling it's open to an expert handwriting review and blasting Democrats who have been vocal.
The release of the salacious pictures from the Epstein files shows what a liar Trump is.
But it's Republicans, the president's own party, leading the investigation on Capitol Hill.
Democrats find one thing in there and they promote it and try to get a narrative. This investigation's about providing justice and accountability for the victims.
The newly released book features page after page from Epstein's friends with repeated raunchy references to sex and massages. This sketch showing Epstein handing balloons to girls labeled 1983 and 20 years later surrounded by half-naked women. Another person adding photos of wild animals having sex. Epstein died by suicide behind bars in 2019, awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. Now, the family of one of his most prominent accusers, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, calling the latest document release a turning point that should expose systemic failures. Another survivor, Liz Stein, who sat down with us last week, today describing her reaction.
It really just made me ill. It really just solidified to me what the culture of Epstein and his friends were. And it's right there in black and white in this book.
And with that, Hallie joins us now live. Hallie, walk our viewers through what happens tomorrow, an off-site trip to New York for the Oversight Committee?
That's right, Tom, by a bipartisan group of committee staff. They're going to head to New York to meet with lawyers from the Epstein estate to see unredacted versions of the documents the estate's handing over. And the committee chair says there is more to come, with a focus on following the money and Epstein's financial records. Tom?
All right, Hallie, we thank you for that. Now to new developments in that gruesome murder of a Ukrainian refugee who was stabbed to death as she sat on a light rail train in Charlotte, North Carolina. The suspect now facing federal charges. Here's Gabe Gutierrez.
Tonight, a new federal charge against a man seen in this disturbing surveillance video pulling a knife from his pocket and repeatedly stabbing a Ukrainian refugee to death last month as she sat on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina.
This is obviously a horrible situation.
The U.S. attorney choking back tears, describing how 23-year-old Irina Zarutska had fled her war-torn country where she had been staying in a bomb shelter. Here in the U.S., the FBI says she quickly got a work permit and held jobs at a senior citizen center and a pizza restaurant.
She was building her young life. She had recently moved in with her partner.
DeCarlos Brown Jr. had already been charged with murder at the state level. Now he also faces a federal count of committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system. President Trump today highlighting his lengthy criminal history, including a conviction for armed robbery, also blaming Democrats for enacting cashless bail.
She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country.
The Trump administration also threatening to withhold federal funds if local authorities don't do enough to protect mass transit riders.
Tragically, a public transportation system in a major American city was more dangerous than the active war zone that she left.
Charlotte's Democratic mayor announcing the city will increase security on the light rail system.
Too many guns guns on the street, not enough police officers on the street, and we need to identify mental health as a public health crisis.
The U.S. attorney says the embassy in Ukraine offered to return Zarutska's remains home, but her family responded that she loved America and they wanted her buried here in the U.S. Tom?
Gabe Gutierrez at the White House. We turn now to another shocking and tragic story, this time in Alabama, where police say a retired professor was murdered in a dog park while walking her dog. Priya Sridhar is in Auburn, where a suspect is now in custody.
Tonight, a community on edge after a retired Auburn University veterinary professor was murdered while walking her dog in a park she frequented with her pet.
I am actually very shocked.
Auburn police say 59-year-old Dr. Julie Schinelli was killed shortly after 10 a.m. on Saturday in Kiesel Park. According to court documents, authorities report that the suspect used a bladed object to kill the victim. This is the park where the attack happened. As you can see, mourners are leaving behind flowers here and a growing memorial for the victim. Police say they received a phone call about a woman's body who was discovered in the wooded area here. They say when they arrived on scene, they found her red truck missing. The next morning, police say they received a call about a suspicious person walking near the park. When they responded, they arrested 28-year-old Harold Rashad Dabney III. He's been charged with 2 counts of capital murder.
She was always super fun, and I remember thinking I just want half of her spunk and her personality.
Her former student Ashley Rudder is remembering Schinelli as a dedicated mother, professor, and friend.
She's like the person that you called if you needed something.
Auburn University mourning the beloved member of their faculty and alumnus who worked for the school for nearly 20 years.
She was selfless. She's going to live on through the people that she trained, and there are thousands of them.
The suspect is being held without bond. His next court date is scheduled for October. The DA telling NBC News they will seek the death penalty. Priya Sridhar, NBC News, Auburn, Alabama.
All right, a new report today offering a worrisome glimpse into the state of the U.S. economy. Far fewer jobs, nearly 1 million, were added here in the U.S. than previously believed. Christine Romans now on what it all means.
31-year-old Fatima Gill is all too aware that the jobs market isn't as strong as many Americans had thought.
There are nights where I just cry myself to sleep.
Gill lives in Cleveland and was laid off from her operations job at a marketing and advertising firm back in March.
I really don't know what to do anymore.
She says she's had dozens of job interviews with no luck.
Did you ever think 6 months later you'd still be looking for a job? All of me, my friends, my family were all surprised that it's been this long at this point. I had a better luck during the pandemic finding a new job than I do now.
Her struggle reflecting signs of slowing in the job market.
This may be the biggest revision ever.
New Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers today showing 911,000 fewer jobs were created from April 2024 to March 2025 than previous reports showed. A routine update based on new data showing the growing challenge of getting an accurate picture of the jobs market. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon.
I think the economy's weakening. Whether that is on the way to recession or just weakening, I don't know.
The White House press secretary today using the numbers to justify firing the BLS commissioner just last month and to place blame on the previous administration.
This makes it very clear that President Trump inherited a much worse economy by the Biden administration than ever reported.
Fatima Gill more concerned about her unemployment benefits ending in October. Now worried she'll have to move back in with her mom.
It is scary. Because it's not in your own control. It's in the control of the economy. What kind of helps me is I'm not alone in the sense of I know other people are experiencing very similar things to what I'm feeling.
All right, Christine joins us now live in studio. So, Christine, some troubling economic news, and yet the stock market still closed higher.
Yeah, Tom, and it's in part because all of this really just adds fuel to President Trump's call for the Fed to lower interest rates when it meets next week. The Fed has 2 responsibilities. It has to keep inflation in check and maximize employment. It's the job market that's increasingly seeming to be the priority here.
All right, Christine Romans. First, Christine, we thank you for that. Now to a shockingly violent protest in Nepal. Young people taking to the streets after the government banned social media sites, including Facebook and Instagram. Here's Raf Sanchez with the video.
Fiery protests tonight in what may be the world's first revolution powered by Gen Z. Thousands of young people outraged over a ban on social media apps like Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. storming the Parliament of Nepal and setting it ablaze. Defiantly waving artifacts looted from government buildings. The chaos forcing the Prime Minister to resign and shutting down the country's main international airport. Demonstrators demanding change, including an end to government corruption.
It is very good for our country. Now I think like us youth will stand and will develop the country.
We are fighting lawyers for Epstein!
At least 22 people have been killed over 2 days as protesters clash with heavily armed riot police. These officers firing tear gas, but they can't hold back the crowds and are soon forced to retreat. And tonight, the government backing down and ending that ban on social media. Tom?
Okay, Raf Sanchez, we'll be right back with the new thinner iPhones and the AirPods that can translate conversations in your ears in real time. Are the new price tags worth it? We are back now with a big announcement from Apple today. The company debuting an ultra-thin iPhone and AirPods that can translate live. And our Brian Chung was there and got to check out the new iPhone Air before it hit stores.
Introducing the newest member of the iPhone family.
Tonight, Apple making the first big new addition to its smartphone lineup in years, the iPhone Air.
This is the iPhone Air. It's what Apple says is their slimmest iPhone yet at just under 6 millimeters in thickness. This is their big bet. It's a new addition to their lineup.
In addition to new iPhone 17s and 17 Pros, Apple also debuting new AirPods Pros that use artificial intelligence.
Live translation begins.
To do live translations.
Definitely. The client will love that.
As well as new smartwatches that can use health data to give you motivational prompts when working out.
That's a new record. You just walked the longest distance in a walking workout this month.
The new products are Apple's new line of defense against competitors, offering phones that flip and fold and boasting bolder artificial intelligence features.
Show me where to start. Unscrew the slip nuts.
As far as the impact of tariffs on prices, it's unclear.
iPhone 17 starts at $799.
The new range of iPhones start at the same price, but its Pro models are now slightly more expensive. The baseline 17 Pro is $100 more than last year's baseline, though it also has more storage. Apple says their new products will hit stores September 19. Brian Chung, NBC News, Cupertino, California.
And when we come back, the growing UFO mystery in our skies will show you the video, plus the new Girl Scout cookie flavor that could be out of this world. Stay with us. We're back now with a developing story here in New York City. Police are looking for a man they say is behind a deadly house fire in Queens. A 76-year-old man was found dead inside the charred building, tied up in the basement with stab wounds. A 77-year-old woman was also killed. Authorities say the suspect you see here is considered armed and dangerous. And in California, dozens of shipping containers tumbling over the side of this cargo ship at a port in Long Beach. You can see them there in the water. It's not yet clear what was inside those containers. Authorities are now investigating what happened here. And take a look at this newly released video. It appears to show the moment an unknown flying object was hit by a missile near Yemen. The impact appears to break pieces off, but it keeps flying. The video from 2024 was played today during a congressional hearing on what the government has called UAPS, unidentified anomalous phenomena. And good news for fans of Girl Scout cookies. There's a new flavor joining the lineup. They're called Explore Mores, inspired by Rocky Road ice cream, and will be sold during the Girl Scouts' next cookie season starting in January. We can't wait. Okay, when we come back, the big man on campus. Meet the 9-year-old boy already taking college classes. There's good news tonight. That's next. Finally, there's good news tonight. Genius kids are real. Move over Doogie Howser and young Sheldon because you're about to meet a real-life 9-year-old who is now in college. Here's Rahima Ellis.
At 9 years old, Aiden Wilkins is making history at a Pennsylvania college.
Every little thing I learn just fascinates me.
And feeling right at home as the youngest student to ever take classes at Ursinus.
I just feel like, okay, I'm in a classroom with people more than double my age.
Okay, because this class in neuroscience is helping Aiden focus on what he wants to be when he grows up.
The reason reason why I want to be a pediatric neurosurgeon is mainly because, well, I like helping kids around my age.
Since 3, Aiden loved watching anatomy videos.
I was always fascinated when I saw, like, the brain.
Aiden's mom says his genius was evident when he was still in diapers.
He was reading signs and correcting people's sentences, and he was actually correct.
He was promoted to high school at 7, when most kids his age go into the 2nd grade. Now at 9, Aiden is in college 3 days a week and has virtual classes as a sophomore in high school. Part of Aiden's gift is his love of things other kids his age also enjoy.
I mainly like to play video games.
But more than anything, Aiden loves learning.
I'm going to go straight to med school and kind of just see how I do.
One gifted child who may be a gift to all of us. Rahima Ellis, NBC News.
Aiden, enjoy those college classes, and a big thank you to our station, NBC Philadelphia, for their help on that story. That's Nightly News for this Tuesday. I'm Tom Llamas. Thanks so much for watching. Tonight, and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.